If it feels like home, ask yourself, what kind of home did you grow up in? Because some of us were raised on emotional landmines and learned to call that love. So when someone mirrors that chaos later in life, it doesn't feel wrong. It feels like destiny. But comfort isn't always safety, and love shouldn't feel like surviving.
We're about to unravel one of the most quietly terrifying truths in modern psychology. Why toxic love feels like home. Why do we chase emotional earthquakes and call them connections? Why the people who hurt us the most often feel like they complete us. And no, it's not because you're broken. It's because your nervous system was trained to expect inconsistency, silence, punishment, and mistake it for care. We're breaking this down into 5 brutal truths. By the end, you won't just recognize your patterns, you'll understand why they exist and how deep the programming really goes.
Before your first kiss, before your first heartbreak, your body learned what love felt like. Was it warm, safe, seen? Or was it unpredictable, distant, demanding? Children don't get to choose love. They survive it. And when love came with strings, moods, or silence, your body wired itself to anticipate chaos. That wiring doesn't vanish with age. It becomes your blueprint. So when someone texts you obsessively one day and ignores you the next, it doesn't raise red flags. It feels familiar. It feels like home. But here's the dark truth. If love meant walking on eggshells back then, you'll find yourself dancing barefoot on glass now, calling it romance. That sigh of relief when they finally text you back, that rush when they apologize after screaming at you, that's not passion. That's your trauma, recognizing its twin. Narcissists don't fall in love with you. They fall in love with how you fall in love with them. They study your cracks, your childhood longings, your unhealed places, and they wrap themselves around those wounds like vines. At first, it feels divine. You've never felt so seen. But slowly, they withdraw, criticize, withhold. And here's the twisted part. You start working harder, because deep down you think, if I can just prove I'm enough, they'll come back. That's not love. That's your inner child begging to rewrite the ending. Empaths don't stay because they're weak. They stay because they confuse chaos with care. They grew up performing for love, so when a narcissist flips the script, it's just another act in a show they've been starring in since childhood. But let's be clear, you're not healing them. You're reenacting something your body never got to finish. And while you wait for them to change, you vanish, piece by piece. Here's the most disturbing part. You can know someone is bad for you and still crave them like oxygen. That's a trauma bond. Your brain doesn't just process memories, it reacts to patterns. And toxic relationships are full of intermittent reinforcement. They hurt you, then comfort you, reject you, then adore you, over and over until the cycle becomes chemical. Dopamine floods in when they return. Cortisol spikes when they disappear. And your body, it gets addicted. Not to them, to the relief they give you after they've been cruel. That's what keeps you hooked. Not the good times, but the sudden end to the bad ones. You're crying after another fight. They finally hold you, whisper they didn't mean it. Your whole body exhales. You feel safe for a second. And that second is enough to forget all the damage they caused. It's not love. It's withdrawal. And every time you go back, the bond tightens. You keep trying to heal them. You think your love will reach the part of them no one else could touch. You call it patience, loyalty, devotion. But let's cut deeper. You're trying to fix them, because fixing them would mean you finally matter. It would mean your pain had a point. But this isn't about them. This is about that part of you that still believes, if I suffer enough, maybe this time I'll be loved right. That is not healing. That is trauma cosplaying as a purpose. And here's the fatal trap. You don't want to leave, because walking away means accepting that the fantasy will never be real, that the version of them you're in love with was always just a projection of your hope. But the longer you stay, the more you abandon yourself to keep them whole. Ask yourself, do you want to love someone or just finally win love? Because those are not the same. If love has always felt like fire, peace will feel cold at first. But it isn't. It's calm. And calm feels foreign to a body raised in chaos. So you reject it. You say, this person is too nice. This is boring. No. It's stable. You just don't recognize healthy yet. Here's where the real work begins. You learn to stop performing. You stay in your body when someone doesn't validate you. You rebuild your nervous system to trust steadiness over sparks. It won't be easy. Your old wounds will scream. But those screams, that's what healing sounds like. Love shouldn't feel like guessing. It shouldn't feel like earning. It shouldn't feel like pain wrapped in promises. You don't have to keep making homes out of war zones. You can learn to build something new, where love feels like freedom, not fire. If love has always felt like fear, like proving, like waiting, then peace is going to feel wrong at first. But that's not a red flag. That's your body unlearning its own betrayal. Because the truth is, you weren't drawn to them by chance. You were pulled by the blueprint your pain left behind. But blueprints can be rewritten. And love, real love, doesn't feel like burning. It feels like rest. So if home has always hurt, maybe it's time to build a new one inside yourself. If this video hit you in the gut, if it called out something you thought was just your type, then you're not broken. You're just waking up. Like, comment, subscribe. Not for vanity. We don't sugarcoat survival. We expose it. We name it. And then we take the power back. Check the description for books, recovery guides, and tools to help you do the work. And remember, you don't need to be chosen. You need to choose different. This is Dark Honey.